What if you brought a lighter to the Ice Age? Day 1. You arrive in 10,000 BC. It is cold. Not forgot your jacket cold. Not the heating is broken cold. The kind of cold that makes your body immediately question every decision that led to this moment. The sky is gray. The ground is frozen. There are no roads, no buildings, no signs, no sounds except wind and something large moving in the trees that you decide not to investigate. You have one thing in your pocket, a Bic lighter, yellow, about 40% full, because you used it to light candles at a dinner party 3 weeks ago that went okay, but not great. You flick it. It works. A small flame appears. You look at it. You look at the frozen prehistoric landscape around you. You look back at the flame. You are the most technologically advanced human being on Earth by approximately 9,985 years. This feels significant. You are also extremely cold and have no food, no shelter, and no plan. This feels more significant. A group of Neanderthals at the edge of the tree line are watching you. There are 6 of them. They are shorter than you expected and considerably more muscular. They have been watching you since you arrived. They watched you flick the lighter. They watched the flame appear from nothing. They are not running. They are also not moving. They are doing the prehistoric equivalent of trying to decide if you are dangerous or just confusing. You flick the lighter again. One of them takes a small step back. One of them takes a small step forward. You have never felt more like a main character and more unprepared to be one simultaneously. Day 2. The one who stepped forward is named something you cannot pronounce. You call him Ugg because you are not proud of your creativity under pressure. Ugg is about 160 centimeters tall, built like a piece of furniture designed for durability rather than aesthetics, and has the focused eyes of someone who has never once been distracted by a notification. Ugg watched you make fire from nothing yesterday and has decided this makes you either a god or something interesting enough to keep alive temporarily. Either works for you. You show him the lighter properly. You flick it slowly. Flame appears. You extinguish it. You flick it again. Flame appears again. Ugg watches this with the concentration of a man watching the most important thing he has ever seen, which he is. You hand him the lighter. He holds it like it might bite him. You gesture. Flick the wheel. He tries. Nothing. He tries again. Nothing. His thumb is too cautious. You demonstrate again. On his 4th attempt, the flame appears and Ugg makes a sound you have never heard a human make before. It is somewhere between a word and something that comes before words. The other 5 Neanderthals who have been watching from a safe distance all take one step forward at the same time. You have just performed the most successful product demonstration in human history. Day 3. They bring you into the camp. The camp is a collection of shelters made from animal hides stretched over bones. It is dark inside and smells like everything you would expect from a space shared by people who have not yet developed ventilation as a concept. It is also warmer than outside, by a margin that makes you understand for the first time in your life what warmth actually means, as opposed to just a comfortable default state. They already know fire. This is important to understand. You did not bring fire to people who have never seen fire. Fire has existed for these people for generations. What you brought is fire that comes from nowhere, requires no wood, no spark, no effort, no ritual. Fire on demand. Fire in your pocket. This is the difference between knowing that food exists and having a refrigerator. The elder of the group, a woman who looks approximately 45, which in this era means she has outlived most reasonable expectations and earned the status to prove it, examines the lighter for a long time. She does not flick it. She turns it over. She looks at the fuel visible through the translucent casing. She smells it. She hands it back to you with an expression that says, "I do not fully understand this yet, but I understand that it matters." You have been assessed by a 10,000 BC elder and received a provisional passing grade. This is the best review you will get all week. Day 4. Word travels. You do not know how word travels when there are no words as you understand them and no infrastructure for information to move through, but it travels. By midday, there are people from 2 other groups at the camp who came specifically to see the small firebox. You demonstrate. You let people try. Most cannot flick it correctly. A teenage boy gets it on his 2nd attempt and immediately becomes the most popular person in a 3-kilometer radius. You start to understand your actual position here. You are not a god. You are not a conqueror. You are not even particularly impressive as a physical specimen next to people who have been doing functional fitness as a survival requirement since birth. What you are is a man with one specific object that solves one specific problem better than anything available in this era. You are a product. The lighter is the product. You are just the person currently holding it. This becomes complicated when you realize the lighter is approximately 35% full now, and you used it 6 times today for demonstrations. You do the math. The math is not good. You have somewhere between 3 and 5 days of fuel left, depending on usage. After that, you are a man in the Ice Age with a small yellow plastic rectangle that does nothing. You begin rationing immediately. This is the first time in your life that rationing has felt genuinely urgent rather than a thing people talk about in self-improvement content. Day 5. You try to teach them to make fire without the lighter. This seems like the responsible thing to do. Sustainable technology transfer. You find 2 sticks. You rub them together with the confidence of someone who has watched this work in movies. Nothing happens. You rub them faster. Still nothing. Your hands start to hurt. You rub them for what feels like 15 minutes with complete commitment and 0 result. Ugg watches this performance with the patience of someone who has seen this attempted before and knows how it ends. Then Ugg picks up 2 different sticks, not the ones you chose, specific sticks from a specific pile that he selected without explaining his criteria. He prepares a small nest of material you didn't notice him gathering. He does something with the sticks that looks similar to what you were doing, but is different in every detail that actually matters. The angle, the pressure, the speed, the specific point of contact. In 40 seconds, he has an ember. In 60 seconds, he has a small fire. You have been in the Ice Age for 5 days trying to be useful, and the most useful thing you have done is watch someone who was never in danger of not knowing how to make fire show you how to make fire. You sit with this information for a while. The fire is warm. You are grateful for the fire. You did not make the fire. These 3 facts coexist without resolving into anything comfortable. Day 6. The lighter runs out. Not dramatically, not at a moment of crisis. It runs out in the morning when you flick it out of habit, and the flame that appears is small and then gone and then not there anymore when you try again. You shake it. You try again. Nothing. It is a yellow plastic rectangle now. That is all it is. You wait for the consequences. You wait for the moment when your status collapses, when Ugg steps back, when the elder withdraws her provisional approval, when you become just another confused person in the Ice Age with no particular skills and increasingly cold feet. None of this happens. Ugg looks at the lighter. He understands what happened. He has watched fires go out. He knows when a resource is finished. He picks up his sticks. He makes fire in 40 seconds. The elder nods. Life continues. You realize that you were never important here because of the lighter. You were interesting because of the lighter. These are different things. What made you worth keeping around was something else. You showed up. You tried to communicate. You shared what you had without trying to own the situation. And you sat down and watched when someone knew more than you did. In 10,000 BC, these are survival qualities. In any century, these are survival qualities. The lighter was just the introduction. Day 7. You leave. It is still cold. The sky is still gray. The thing in the trees is still there, and you still decide not to investigate. You go back to your century. You go back to your apartment. You go to the kitchen and turn on the gas stove, and the igniter clicks, and the flame appears instantly, and you stand there for longer than makes sense just looking at it. Fire on demand, in your pocket, on your stove, in every lighter at every gas station you have ever walked past without looking at. You think about Ugg and his specific sticks and his 40 seconds and the expression on his face when he had an ember. Not pride exactly, just the quiet competence of someone doing something they know how to do in a world that requires them to know how to do it. You think about the elder turning the lighter over in her hands and handing it back with an expression that said, "I don't fully understand this yet, but I understand that it matters." You think about the teenage boy who got it on his 2nd try and immediately became the most popular person in the room. Some things do not change across 10,000 years. You go to your drawer. You find your Bic lighter. Yellow. Full. You flick it. The flame appears. You look at it for a moment. Then you put it in your pocket and walk outside. Subscribe and tell me, what one object would you bring to the Ice Age?